Everyone, how's it going? Let me just take the overlay out. And yeah, hey, how's it going? Okay, so again, we have something different in the setup. I have changed the camera angle. I'm still trying to test out different setup styles. But hey, till the time being, register and check in here. Make sure that you mark yourself as joined to this event so that we know and you'll be getting swags for attending Global Hack Week's events. This is part three of game development in Unity. And in the last two parts, what we've done is understand game design and created a basic structure of the game. So I did mention in the last stream that I'll take the liberty of completing all the obstacles, but I didn't get a chance to do that. So we'll be doing here itself. And what we'll be doing is we'll be adding score, sounds, and make sure that if a person or if our player crosses any of the obstacles, um, they lose score, they lose health, and they'll have some points and everything. So we'll be adding all of those features today. Let me just present my screen, but till the time being, we have just started. How's it going? How's Global Hack Week going for you? We're so close to the end of Global Hack Week, and that's so soon. I feel like Global Hack Weeks just come and go, and you don't even realize when those 6 7 days finish. So yeah, how's Global Hack Week going for you? Which is your favorite stream, and what's been the best part so far? For me, Global Hack Week games is like the most favorite thing to be a part of because before I joined Google as a software engineer, I was a game developer. I used to build Unity and AR games. So this is like my most favorite thing to do. And because of Global Hack Week, I've gone back to my roots of Unity after around 9 10 months. So I'm extremely happy and excited that we had a Global Hack Week. I think last I worked on Unity was in the last year's Global Hack Week games, which was for 2023. And after that, I've been working on Unity now. So yeah, I am really happy that we are having this week and I got the chance to work on this game. So till the time being, I hear a hi and more interaction from folks in the comments. I'll just show what our game looks like right now. So the lower window is the game window. This is the game view, and this is the obstacle that we want to collide with. And when we do, we want to decrease the health of our car. So I all I obviously wanted that we have some effect added, but unfortunately we haven't been able to do that yet. What I want to do is when we collide, first of all, I want to reduce the health. And I also want to make sure at least we have a sound effect, even though we cannot show a video effect right now. Like in the interest of time, I'm not sure if we can have a video effect at the moment, but I'm extremely sure that I want to add a sound effect. So, what I'm going to do is, first of all, we'll detect the collision, and before doing that, we'll place the obstacles at more places rather than just this one. So, in the last stream, we had something called as prefab, and before we keep adding it to other places, I'll just name this tag. This will help us in detecting collisions. So, I'll add a tag to this and name the tag obstacle. Sorry about the mishaps in the typing, but this is the new tag that we've added. We'll go back to obstacle tag, and here's the obstacle tag. So this obstacle is the one when our player collides with, we want to reduce the health. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add multiple obstacles in the scene. So currently I'm just trying to explain you the concept of how all of this works. By the end of this, it may not be the most perfect and completely ready game, but it will give you a gist of how game development goes. So I don't see the arrows to move the obstacle anywhere. Let's just remove the multiple obstacles that I've added. Save it. Go to our prefabs. Uh, where did I place the obstacle? Yeah, I'll add another obstacle here, and let's keep the position 1. I don't know why don't we see the arrows to move the obstacle around. I mean, they should have been here. Maybe you have to change object mode. I do have this arrow mode, which is the move tool, and that gives you the opportunity to move the object. Like if you see here, when I clicked on the car, I do have a move tool working here, but I don't see the move tool around my obstacle, which could be for the fact that we have a parent object here, but you should still be able to see it somewhere at least. Let me just zoom out and see if we can see the arrows somewhere. Yeah, because the parent coordinates are 0, 0, 0. That's why you see this here, which actually shouldn't be the case. Should keep this pivot local, or actually the parent should have the coordinates and not the child object. So what I'm going to do is I am simply going to copy these units here, and I'm going to give this the value 0 and 0. I think minus 0.9. Actually, it should be minus 2.0, and that should be minus 1.0. So we're keeping a distance of 1, and this should be minus 4.0, and the x coordinate should be 0. So when I do apply the override of these, our prefab should be right where it was, and along with which its arrows should be there. Yes, this looks much better. And if I go to our obstacle 1, it's here. So what I'm going to do is just remove the obstacle 1, and we'll keep copying from obstacle 0 because that's on the right track. So let's just save it. Click on obstacle, press F, and you see it in this scene perfectly fine. So let's just duplicate it and try to move it a little forward somewhere here. Keep pressing F, make sure that you find the perfect position of where you want it to be. And yeah, literally did sunk in a bit. Did obstacle 0 also sunk inside the road? I think this is fine. Obstacle 1. So I'll just make 5 instances total and just adjust them at places. I think this should be somewhere more forward in the track. Let's just zoom out and see. Like these two are here, I'll move this here at the back. Somewhere here. I'll probably adjust its position later on, but I'm just keeping a placeholder of where we want the obstacles to be. I'll go for obstacle 3, move it somewhere very, very forward. I think probably at the place where you see the turn happening, right? That's actually a place where a user may have tendency to collide with an obstacle. And the final one, let's do one thing. We have a very big track going on. So we can place it somewhere near that corner in the road. I'll just press F and see. Yes, we were actually at the right spot. Somewhere here in the road. Right? Let's go to obstacle. Let's go to all of these obstacles and see where they're standing and just give them a right position. I'll rotate this one. So this is the rotate tool and this is the axis I want to rotate it on. I'll go to the move tool again and move it somewhere here. There's a high chance that the player will actually collide with it. So I'll just move it somewhere over this corner and maybe a little actually touching the ground. So in case you want to identify if it's touching the ground, just do something like this. Keep it flat. Okay. And just zoom in and just look at the bottom if it's actually touching the road. So the road is really tilted. So what I'm going to do is I'll use the move tool and tilt it somewhere here and just take it out. Hi Gokul, how's it going? Yes, I remember you. Okay, let's go to the second obstacle. Again, it's dancing somewhere in the air. Let's just zoom out and place it on the ground. Okay, yes. And obstacle 1 was, I think, fine. We had placed it on the ground itself. Yes. It's a little bit in the air, but I think it's okay. So now what we are going to do is we'll first of all define a health of 100, and let's say every obstacle it crosses it loses health of 20. We've placed 5 obstacles, so I do want to test if the game gets over after touching these 5 obstacles. So I'm going to reduce the health by 20% when it collides with every um, obstacle. You could even increment it, keeping like first obstacle reduces health by 5, next one reduces by 10, 15, 20, whatever you want. Actually, that's very cool and that's very easy to code as well. So what I'm going to do is, hi, bite, bending, savant. How's it going? Uh, so we have multiple scripts open. We don't need the camera movement. I think this is our player movement script that we are using. So what I'm going to do is, remember we yesterday we clicked on a property called on trigger is trigger. So what I'm going to do is, I think I entered the wrong function name. Otherwise, it should have detected the function I was typing about. No, I don't think. I'll just check the exact spelling of on trigger enter, because if we do not name it in the exact nomenclature, it will cause a problem. Yes, on trigger enter is the definition. It's a private void function actually. So if I do private void, let me try again. On trigger enter, let me just add the entire definition. I'll explain what we are doing. So if collision dot game object dot tag equals obstacle, debug dot log, I think log has a capital L, reduce health. So currently we will just log that the health should be reduced because you collided with. Can you increase the font size a bit? Sure. Wait. I think it should be in the view, or just no. Is it shift plus or which function it is actually? There's a shortcut which directly increases the size, right? It's been a while that I've used Visual Studio, so let me just check if I can find it in the view itself. Do we know of direct shortcut to increase the font size? Control plus. Yeah, I was trying to click on Control plus itself, but it did not seem to happen. That's why I asked. I thought I was pressing something wrong, but Control plus is not working. Maybe I'll try directly from my laptop's keyboard. No, that does not help. Let me just do a quick Google search and find. Okay, that's too big, but it's okay. At least it's easy to explain. Uh, yes, found it in the settings. Cool. So this is what we are doing. This is the function on trigger enter. So basically, what we've done is we've added a property to our obstacle that when you collide with this, you have to trigger. You don't have to, let's say, collide and stop. You trigger means you have to detect a collision, but you have to pass through easily, right? So let's say I have these two objects. They, even if they collide, they pass through. Nothing stops them from moving forward, but we can detect that they pass through and we can create an impact there. Okay. Now the thing is that I am a little skeptical about this because we've added a collider in every single this object, this obstacle that we had, instead of adding it to whole. So that could be an issue, and the collider is added in the objects, but the tag is added in the parent one. So this may or may not work. Let's just check it out. Since I have a debug log statement, so there's this console window which I talked about yesterday. You will see a log when we actually are colliding with it. Let's wait for it to play. Whenever you make changes to the script, it takes time to load the script, and sometimes it may take a lot of time. Sometimes it's just it happens really quickly. So yesterday we were lucky and it happened really quick, but today it will take time. So just to ensure, sometimes this is not selected. This is the one which prints your log statements. So this is the one which prints log statements. This is the one which prints warnings, which prints errors. This is the one which prints warnings. So I'll reduce warning. I'll keep error as well as log activated. And we'll play and see if actually what we made the change of will work or not. I am skeptical that it will work. It is a 90% chance it will not. Yes, it did not work. I was right about that. So, what we're going to do is in your obstacles, the collider that we added here is not needed. So, we'll remove this component and actually override this property. I don't find a way to override the property. I'll just keep the component anyway here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the properties or just add the component here. I don't need to copy properties. Rigid body. Wait, we do not need rigid body. We needed a box collider. Add component box collider. Now if we see the box, it's not the right shape that we need. So we're going to change the shape. The lowermost box is actually the box that has been provided to the parent object, which does not make sense because if your car just collides with the last obstacle that you have, it will not detect a collision. So what I'm going to do is I am going to edit this, edit its size. This is the side. It is sometimes really tricky to work with these things, but you just have to be patient to adjust the size. Let me just, okay, yeah, I have increased the size way too much. I need it up to this corner. Again, I'll press F, find the top, increase it, press F again. Bottom, I'll have to reduce up to here. I'll click on my Alt key and see. Alt key and left click helps you to rotate around the scene and see if everything's fine. So right now, what I feel like we have decreased the bottom a lot. I think this should be fine. And the last step, okay. Again, if you see the sides, a player might just stop at this point, but they'll anyway collide. So we don't want that. We want it to be really precise. So I'll end the collider here. And similarly on the front side too, I'll try to end it as close as the obstacle, which is here. It's still a little outside boundaries. I hope it's making sense what I'm trying to do. Let's just, yeah, this looks fine. So we're going to save this. We'll make sure that we have is trigger activated. And on obstacle overrides, we will apply all overrides. So now when we actually cross this portion, we should receive a debug statement that, hey, your health should reduce because you've just touched a obstacle. You see the statement reduce health because we've touched an obstacle. So that's how collisions work. Now we'll have multiple collisions for coins, for obstacles, and multiple functions related to them. I think I'm lagging a bit. It's probably because Unity is taking 90% of the load on my laptop. Uh, Hi 404, how's it going? Yes, you are half an hour late and we've just made the functionality work. Um, Now, what I'm going to do is Okay, we didn't have to go back to Unity Hub. We'll create a public float health, public int actually, not float, health equals 100. And every time we do this, health minus equals 20. Now we will add another debug log statement. Kindly, we're just printing it in the logs that what the health is, current health. These logs work like any other language that you write in. The syntax is pretty simple, and we'll print health here. Okay, let's get back here. Now there's an error, cannot convert from int to unity engine dot object. So we did something wrong. And on which line is this? It's 45th line. So 45th line is where we try to print it. Is it percentage D for int? I have forgotten certain things. What do we do when we have to print int? Percentage D for int, right? I don't think it's taking it that way. Okay, let's just do one thing. What if I do it this way? I think this sort of log also worked. And it should in C sharp. I think it's working because it was able to compile the statement. I hope we printed right. Yeah, percentage D for int is in C. I wasn't sure if C sharp has a different or changed format. It's been a while that I've worked in C sharp. Yeah, so you see the current health is 80 now. So let's just skip this obstacle. Kindly, we don't have the clause where in case, yeah, current health is 60. Kindly, there's no clause that in case our health goes up to 0, this game will end. So health could go minus 20, minus 40, anything. What I'm going to do is I am going to collide again and again to show that the health is 0, but we are still moving. Health is minus 20, minus 40, minus 60, minus 80, and it can go on because there's no clause that you have to end the game right here. So we are going to do now is clear this first of all. And if health, before reducing the health actually, yeah, no, if we reduce the health, if health double equals to 0, we want to debug dot log. Could we make the obstacles actually hit the car or reduce the speed? Actually, yes, we can reduce the speed. But when we tried to make it hit the car, it went absolutely ridiculously dancing in the air. So for that, we need to apply better physics and need better physics on the terrain. Since we are using an already existing model, it was causing some issues, so we couldn't do that. But that's a great suggestion. We can reduce the speed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just printing game over right now in the log statement and making the health value 100 again. So even if we do reduce the speed, collisions go yeah, actually. So when I had collider on instead of trigger, it absolutely danced somewhere in the air. So we don't want that, but let's say speed minus equals to 10f. Now this would actually reduce the speed to 0 at one point, so I'm going to start with speed 50 and see. And when we are refreshing, this health is coming back to 100. I'll make speed go back to 50f again. It's a very simple if else logic right now. As oh yeah, I've been coding in Kotlin for quite a while, and I forgot that C sharp needs semicolons. Did I mess something up again? The name speed does not exist in the current context. Do we have something else in the speed? Oh, it's move speed. It's not just speed. Move speed and move speed here as well. Save. Go back to Unity. Our error should go away. Google uses. Is it a good option to set time scale to 0 for game over? Yes. But what I would suggest is make time scale 0 and at the same time create another screen, another scene, and move to there where you show a window that game is over, or create a pop-up UI, game over, restart, and when person clicks restart, that's when you move time scale equals 0. That's when you remove the time scale 0 and start the game again. I hope that makes sense. Google uses both. My team uses Kotlin. Actually, we use both again, but I personally, with the project I'm working on, uses Kotlin. So yeah, the speed is pretty good. The speed reduced to 40f, third, and it just stopped here. Oh, okay. Wait. I was just every time I reduce the speed to 10f, right? Let me just print the current speed as well, because in two collisions the speed just went off. Current speed. Or what we can do is we can actually make the player stop at that point, and you have to again start the player. Did I again just type speed instead of move speed? Yes, I did. Oh yes. From here in the game window, we've set the speed to 20. That's why it stopped in the second obstacle. What we are going to do is car player, and the speed here is set to 20. So I'm going to keep it 50. Save. The speed is pretty good and it's actually zooming very fast. Current health is 80 and current speed is 40. Go back to the game window, start playing. Current speed is 30. We could not hit that object. Okay, we are dancing now. Um, and speed goes 20. It's even slower now. This actually looks very realistic because we had gravity switched on for the car, so When you drift or when there are levels, the car is actually just dancing in the air sometimes. Okay, I need to collide with one more obstacle. Here's the obstacle. The game's glitching. Our current health is 20, our speed is 10, and let's just stop us. So, again, the game went over, but at the same time, we had refresh settings set up. So, our current speed became 50 and our health became 100 again, so that we could start playing again. So, the speed is 50 now, and it's a really smooth experience, almost where it dances in the air at times. I think 50 speed is somewhat dangerous to play with, but this looks pretty cool. Yeah, I am actually having fun moving the car around everywhere, and I fell off the ground. So we also have to add a clause here that if your car falls off the ground, the game's over. There are a lot of ways where the game could get over, and we've not added that. So currently, I'm not going to add the coins feature. We are just going to enhance on this because we have speed and health going on. What I'm going to do is I'll keep the speed to 30 and have minus 5f every time. So let's go to our script. Current speed should be 30f, and every time we reduce it by 5. When the game is over, I don't want this. What I want is time scale. Is this the right spelling? Right camel keys for time scale. Time scale. Yes, I was writing it correctly. Equals 0. So when this happens, the game pauses. At this time, I'll activate a UI window. So what we are going to do is we will now design a bunch of UI features and work on it. So I am trying to put everything in a single script to make it easy and not have multiple scripts right now. Um, let's add something for UI. So we are going to go to plus sign UI, and I'm going to add a panel first. This is how my panel looks like. I'm just going to click on the panel and press F. So this is the 2D version, and no matter what, the 2D version stays unless and until we deselect the object. So this panel is going to have a game over part. What I'm going to do is I'll add another UI object, which will be a text. Import text mesh pro essentials. Let me know if at any point you feel like it's getting too much. I will take a pause and explain better. I am going to make this text a part of the panel, a child of the panel. We'll click or we'll add the text as game over. Now let's just make it better. Let's keep game over as red. Make it bold. Font size is fine, but I want it to be in a single line. So wrapping is disabled. Overflow is allowed. Color gradient. I don't want color gradient. I don't want it to auto size as well. I want the size to be actually bigger. Underlined. No, underlined is a little too much. What is this? No, I don't want strike. I don't want italics. I think this is fine. Let's look at some fonts if they have. They have a drop shadow font. I think this one looks a little more decent. I wouldn't say this is a great font. If we have time, I'll actually want to select a better font. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to center it. So I'll click on this, press Alt Shift and select the center. So it is centered here, but I actually wanted, okay, Control Z. So we want the text to be center aligned. Yes. And now I'll raise it to somewhere here. Save it. I'll add a button, UI button, and the text inside this button should be restart. This should again have another thing called as menu, but we haven't prepared a menu screen. So we're just playing with one screen at the moment. So I'm just going to have this thing. Inside this, the text looks a little weird. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably try to reduce the size of the text. No, that does not work actually. It still looks weird. Um, if I make it bold, it is a tad bit better, I would say. But it still looks a little pixelated for some reason. And let's give it the color. Oh, red is actually more weird as a color. Let's give the restart color white and the button as a color red. Now, do not come at me. I'm not great with UI UX. I'm just trying to create something here right now to work with. Okay. This looks very unpleasant to the eye. I'm just going to change this to black and the game over text to black as well for now. This is still decent than what I did before. I did not like the red thing at all. So game over, we're giving it a chance to restart. And we do have to add a function to the button that when person clicks on this button, what happens. But for now, we are going to take a reference to this panel and make sure that this panel gets activated when the game gets over, right? So what I am going to do is I'm going to go back to my script, public object. I think object is, it should be a game object. Panel. So we'll make sure when the game starts, panel dot set active false, and when game is over, before time scale goes off, panel dot set active true. Control S. So what's going to happen now is right now the panel is set, but we have to assign the panel to something. Did I make the panel private? The name panel does not exist. Okay, it should be small. small here, and the game object is public. Game object does not contain a definition for set active and no accessible method. Really? Game object dot set active. I mean, that shouldn't be the case. A game object does have set active quality in it. Um, did I again misspell the case? Yes, I did. It's set active with S capital. I did it here. I messed it up here. Okay, let's get back. Yeah, let's just clear our console window. So when we play, the panel should go off by itself because that's what we added in the start function. Let's see. Oh, we did not assign the panel. Clear. And here we need a game object. We'll give this panel here. Move speed should be 30. Control S. Let's play. So the panel went off. Now I'll deliberately lose lives. 60, 40, 20, 0. And this happens. So we've ended at the perfect spot. Now what we are going to do is we have to add three things. One is health to the UI. Second is your speed at the on the UI. And third thing is when you actually click on restart, the game should restart. Okay. So first of all, we'll complete the panel work and add a restart here. What I'm going to do is I am going to make a new function, public void on restart button click. It's not going to give me anything as a parameter. All I have to do is when this happens, I restart this entire scene. So there are two ways to do that. We remove the panel, we start the time scale, and we just set the time scale to 1 again, and we make sure that the health and the speed go back to the same value they were. But what will happen here is that your car will remain at the same position there is, and the minute we start again, we'll hit that obstacle. And it technically is not restart, it's just refreshing your properties. So instead, what we are going to do is we'll reload the entire scene. So there's a function for that. We use a scene manager dot load scene. There's something called as that. I'll just open the syntax for it again. Yes, scene manager dot load scene. So the thing is that I remember all of the concepts, but again, I definitely need help with referring to the syntax. A lot of times I go back and forth doing that. So we have to add a namespace called using Unity engine dot scene management. So this namespace is actually going to help us to use that function. And on this restart button click, what I want to do is scene manager dot load scene. Now I want to load the current scene. So there should be a reference for that. So you either add scene number, you add the scene text or serial. I want to load the same scene. So there should be a direct reference to that current scene. Yes. So again, scene manager has a reference. Scene manager dot get active scene. That's the current scene we are working in. Currently, we just have one scene, and we'll take reference of its build index. So what it's going to do is it will take reference of the same scene and load it again. Now, before the build index things happen, load scene. Yes, thank you so much for the help. I was actually on some other scene, some other window. I've talked a lot about scene today. Now, before we do that, let's just go to file and build settings, and the build setting opened in another screen, and we'll add open scene. So now the build index of this particular scene is set to 0, and target platform is Windows, which is where actually we need to deploy. So I'm just going to save this, and we'll try clicking on the restart button again and see if this is working. Then we'll add UI buttons, some songs, and we'll probably just end UI items, songs, and we'll end the game right there probably. Current health is 80, 60, 40, 20, 0. Now let's click on, oh wait, I did not add the button functionality to the button. In the panel, let's go to the button. Right here, this is on click list empty. So I'm going to click on plus, mention the object which is my car. There's a no function entered. Instead, I'll go to player moment, which is my script. And this is the function on restart button click, and save it. Now it's going to respond to the button click. Let's start playing. 80, 60, 40, 20, and 0. Now let's click on restart, and the game started again. Uh, Wait. After restart, the time scale is still set to 0. So before we load the scene again, we have to make sure that time scale is set to 1 again. So time scale equals 1f. So what happens is time scale is the best way of pausing the entire game. Sorry, I went in the explanation mode and I started moving my chair around. What happens is time scale is basically helping you pause the game at a point. So if you set time scale equal to 0, if you set it to equal to 0.7, 0.5, the speed, the time moves up to that scale. So when we set it to 0, that means nothing should move. If it's set to 1, it's all right. Any value in between, it will be multiple of that instead of 1. So let's play. And let's reduce our health again, 60, 40, 20, and 0. Let's click on restart, and you can start the game again. So that's working fine. Cool. Now we'll add the two UI things, but before that, currently the window is free aspect. Let's do a 16:9 ratio. I think this will be the perfect ratio for a Windows game. And on top here is where I want to show the part where I show my health as well as my current speed. So currently I'll just set the panel to false because I don't need the panel anytime I start the game. It will be activated by itself when we cross anything. I will add a text and this will be my speed. I'll duplicate this and this will be my health. Rename health. So starting speed is 30 and starting health equal is 100. Let's save it. Speed and health. Now we obviously want to anchor it to a better position. So I'll click on health, click on anchor, alt shift and the right side corner. Similarly to speed, anchor, alt shift, right side corner. Now I will keep health prior than speed. So I'll just drag down my speed to here. Now we obviously need something better than what it's looking right now. First of all, I'd reduce the font size to 24 for both. Move the speed a little up here and move the health a little down actually. Yeah. Both of them together, a little right, and probably add a very small panel right behind them. So we'll add a panel. Did I add a raw image instead? Yes, I did. I'll delete this. We don't need the image, we need a panel. UI panel. Reduce the size of the panel. Okay, I did mention something. No, I actually reduced the size of canvas instead. So what we can do is, in the panel, click on scale and just reduce the size. Arrows, move it here and move it behind health and speed. Again, click on the scale option. If I pull it this way, the scale increases from that side. Let's click on arrows again. Move it a little to the top. And now, I think I'll make the background black, but a little opaque. Since panel is beneath these, it is at a layer above speed and health. So I'm just going to make sure speed and health goes behind this. So the UI setup, this is the most basic UI that you'll ever see. You can obviously modify it, add more fonts and make it look much, much better than what I have done. But I'm just making sure that we have something ready. Now what we're going to do is we'll go back to this and we'll use another class, which is, I think, Unity engine.ui, if I'm not wrong. Unity engine.ui. Yes, that's the namespace. Using Unity engine.ui, command S. Because we have to edit the text values, we need Unity engine.ui. And now we'll be modifying the text directly. This will help us reference the game object directly, which is called text. So now I'm going to have two text values, public text score. This will be a capital text, I think, capital D, and public text player health. So in the update, I will add a function update UI, and let's draft this function private void update UI, which is my score dot text equals score plus the current score value. Once capital, I don't have a score actually. I have the speed and the health now. So this should be just speed, not score. Command S, control S, speed dot text equals speed plus move speed, and what, oh wait, sorry, I pressed the shift key a lot of times. What is the next thing? The player health dot, is it capital text or the small text? We'll know once we mess up. Is equal to health plus the current health we have. Okay, let's save it. Go back to the Unity screen. Let's see if we have some. The type or namespace name text could not be found. You're using or missing a reference. So let's just make it small text and see. One of them is small, one of them is capital. That's what I know. So if this is small, then the reference text is capital. Type on namespace text could not be found. Wait a minute. It's definitely capital. Oh, Unity engine.ui. Command Control S. Let's go back to the scene view and see if we have any arrows missing. Must be non-negative and index was out of range. Which index was out of range? Let's see if this is working. Now I have made it a focus mode so that we can play well. And we forgot to add reference. First of all, for the panel, let's just anchor it. Alt Shift top right. And from there, just move it accordingly. I think this should be fine. Yeah. Control S. And in our car, let's give reference to the text and the speed and the player health. Speed. Nope, that's not working. Okay, do we have a different reference for Text Mesh Pro? Because they have the property of Text Mesh Pro and not text. Text Mesh Pro. Because I've always used text, not Text Mesh Pro, but for the newer versions, that's different. Or is it a game object and it directly has a reference to text. Let's just see. Let's just make both of these game objects and try. The game object will not have a reference to text, right? Go back, make both of them text again. But for something is wrong here. The game seem to be active. Yeah. So what's happening is I have a text reference, but in the script that does not happen. So let's just quickly search it. Text mesh pro in script. So I just need to know what is the reference to text mesh pro that we need to import. I think it's not Unity Engine.ui, instead it's TM Pro, and you just use a reference of text mesh pro instead. Let's just try this using TM Pro, and let's make it text mesh pro instead. And let's see if the reference works. Not sure if this has worked. I've never worked with text mesh pro before. Yeah, I think that was fine. Let's see if we can assign text mesh pro here. Speed. No, we still can't assign it. There's something called as text mesh pro GUI as well. Let's just try that. No, that does not work. Has anyone used text mesh pro before? If you know the actual reference that we do, what are we doing? We're just adding UI for speed and health here, and that will update alongside while we play. But seems like the Unity upgraded after I started working on it. So there's something called as text mesh pro, and I don't know the reference to it. So I'm just trying to search it in Unity documentation. Class text mesh pro. Yes, found the documentation for it. Let me just find a way to directly use it somewhere. Okay, I'll also share the screen which I'm working with alongside. So what I gently do is whenever I can't find reference to anything, uh, Unity scripting documentation is my way to go to work with anything. So I'm just trying to find the exact text mesh pro reference. Do we have a suggestion in the comment? Use serial. Okay, wait. I was actually sharing this. Use serialized field and add reference to of object to parameters of class. Yeah, I mean that can be done, but we use directly refer text, right? Can't we do that with Unity UI anymore? like the text editor that we have, Unity Engine.ui. It used to have text references. So is there no text reference anymore, and we have to just work with Text Mesh Pro somehow? Is it so? Because I don't see a reference for UI text. It's directly Text Mesh Pro that exists. I could very easily create um, a UI script which directly just takes a reference from here, but I still want to understand why are we not able to assign it and figure out a workaround where we directly do this, because it's the easiest where something of this sort should be functional. I hope that makes sense, like what I'm trying to do. Let me just go back to the, or you can do game object.find to get reference of the UI object. Yeah, but why can't we reference it directly? That's what I'm curious about. Uh, Let me just stop sharing this. Go back to the Unity screen, entire screen, and screen one, and add it to stage. My one problem is I forget to add things to stage. Uh, in Unity script, I still want to find another way to use quick text mesh pro. Okay, found it. So we are using a wrong reference actually. This shouldn't be text mesh pro. It should be tmp underscore text, and this will work then. Let's just give it a try. I found it in one of the Unity tutorials itself. And now let's hope it works. Yes, it does. I'm sorry, I'm very adamant of if I want one approach to work, I'll find a way to make it work. Let's go back to play. To the game scene. Yes, our health and speed is updating now. And the speed has reduced quite a lot. Let's just sabotage the game and lose. Right? This is how it looks. Now this time I don't want the health and speed to show over here. So what I'm going to do is mm, do I want that reference, or probably we can do that later. Uh, what else? Now I need to add some music to make the game look a little complete. You have to drag and drop the UI object in Unity to game script character. That I am sure I know, but what happens is that when you drag and drop, you need the exact reference of the object, and that was tmp underscore text, and I was just typing text mesh pro. So we were using two different types, and that's why drag and drop wasn't working. That is the reference I was finding. So now what I'm going to do is, um, first of all, let's just add another empty object in Canvas and name it uh, just keep it scoreboard. Panel, speed, health, all goes inside it. Save it in my script. First of all, you're not using Unity Engine.ui anymore. I'll have again a reference to a game object called scoreboard. Command S. I'll make sure that scoreboard is set active to true when we start the game. And before we show our panel, we'll set the scoreboard to set active false. Now we will add some music to the game, and this will be the basic game structure that we have for now. I'm just going to find some sounds. Uh, car crash, some effect. I just need a very small sound effect. This one's major. Um, I don't think you all can hear the sound effect. I don't know if my laptop's uh, speaker were loud enough to make you hear that, but that's a very bad crash sound. I'll just try to find a better one. A very small crash sound effect that I need. A 6 second would. It's very bad sound effects that they have on YouTube. Okay, there's some ad going on. Can you all hear any sound from my laptop? I hope the noise cancellation is working there. Um, yeah, this sound is fine. So I'm just going to download one crash sound. Um, okay, then the background noise removal is working fine. So there's a YouTube to MP3 music converter, which I'm trying to find, but I think the website is down. Otherwise, I'll have to download something else. Okay, I found another similar website. Just convert it to MP3 and download it. Okay, we have the crash sound. Then we'll try to find a race car sound effect. I'll make you hear the sounds. Just trying to find them first. Race car sound effects. I am going to use this sound as well. Convert next. Control V, convert, and download. Okay, so I have two sound effects which I'm going to use. So, first of all, in the assets folder, I'll create a new folder which will be my sound effects. In that, I will add the effects which I just downloaded. Downloads. Okay, no. Let me see. Where's my downloads folder when I need it? Yeah. These are the two sounds. And we'll import these inside Unity. So we have the two sounds. Now what I'm going to do is on my scene view, I need any object to attach sound effects to. So audio source, I'll give this the car crash sound effect, and I'll add another component of audio source, and I'll give this the racing car sound effect. Instead, I think we should attach this to the player only. Remove component, remove component. Let's go to the car. Because both of these are associated to the car, it's better to have the audio sources here. This will be my car crash sound effect. And then we'll add another audio source, and this will be my racing car sound effect. So we are going to do some things. First of all, I'm going to refactor the code. Private void move car. Control X, Control V. And this is the movement logic. Control X, Control V. If our movement input value is greater than 0, if what I'm going to do is play race car audio. Private void turn car. This is the turn logic. Control X, Control V. And we will just invoke these functions here: move car, turn car. This just makes the code more readable and better. And similarly, when we detect this collision, what we want is to add another play crash audio. So now we'll go back to our game. Go to car. Inside the audio sources, this is play on awake. We have to switch that off. We don't want the audio to start playing on awake. We don't want them to loop or anything. Now we will go back to our script. Have two audio source references. Audio source, um, car sound, public audio source. I hope that's the exact name of the audio source. And what we'll do is car sound dot play. Here crash sound dot play. Let's see. We'll give audio source could not be found. Let's just find the reference of the audio source in the Unity scripts. Audio source. Unity scripting. I don't find a direct reference to audio source. Audio source game object exists in Unity Engine, but for some reason I am not able to find the reference to it. Am I entering the right spelling? AUDIOSOURCE. Yes, does not contain a definition of play. First of all, they have capital play and capital play. Yes, audio source is working fine now. Now we'll add reference to the audio source. This is car crash sound effect. I'll just reduce this. This is the car play sound effect. And let's see if we hear the sound effects. Now I don't know if you all would be able to hear it. Okay, first of all, what happened to the UI? We added a parent object which was not aligned to the corner. Let's play again and see where did our score went. And let's just work on these and adjust them again. First of all, my panel should be here. Then my speed should be here. And my health looks fine. Yeah. Okay, I can hear the crash sounds perfectly, but not the. Okay, I found the mistake. So I don't know if you all can hear the sounds. If it's not equal to 0, if we have any input in the forward or backward direction, we want to play this sound. I don't think so. You all can hear the sounds. You heard the sound? Cool. Let's play. But the car sound is actually not constant. What we can do is instead let's just play the car sound all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'll go to my script. Instead of this, we just start playing. So the car will actually make the sound even if it's staying at one point, right? Because that's the engine sound that we are trying to play. So I'll start playing the sound here and I'll keep this on loop. So let's go back to our car. Only hear car engine sound when you stop moving. Yes. Heard sounds, but hard to tell if they're all coming through because they were at weird times. Yes, they are actually at weird times. So that's what I'm changing. What we'll do now is in our racing car audio source, this is the car sound, right? I'll play it on loop. So, and I hope that's the engine sound that we have. And for the crash sound, it only plays when there's a crash. So the actually even the crash sound is lagging a bit. I'll probably have to edit the sound somehow. But let's just try this. Okay, we haven't assigned the scoreboard yet. Let's just go out of the play mode and assign scoreboard to the car. Where did the car go? Yeah, script scoreboard. Okay. Control S. Let's start playing again. And I hope this time we hear the engine sound all the time. Yes. So the crash sound is fine, but it's um, a 3 or 6 second sound. So we want to hear the crash right at that moment. I'll probably edit this sound effect. So I think there's something called as MP3 cutter. Um, just going over there and editing this crash sound. Open file. Currently, I'm on my other screen, folks. I'm just trying to quickly edit this sound. And that will be actually the end of the game because we'll be very short of time. And this is the last stream. So downloads, car crash sound effect. I just want that crash. Yes. Save. Okay, I have the sound effect with me. I am going to drag and drop it here in sound effects. So this is the MP3 cut version. I'm going to the car 2. Hmm. Crash sound effect. We are going to change it with this value. Save it, and let's just play and see if this works. Yes. Okay, the engine sound is really bad, the one which I picked out, but I think it's working fine. Only thing is when we stop everything here, we also want the sound to stop. So car sound dot pause. Let's try once again, and I think this will work fine and we'll be done with the game. We didn't have the menu screen. I'm really sad about that, but I think this is the best we could do. And the sound stopped. So I think the game is fine. And now we have a perfectly working car game which has engine sound, sound effects, UI, a UI panel to restart the game, loading the scene, player movement, and camera following along, which is a pretty good game for 6 hours for someone who is a beginner. Um, Learning game development. In this we learned game design and game dev. I know the design was super complex, and that's why I was saying that this is not something which we can build in like 4 hours, because I'll be explaining the steps and working alongside, and even I am a little rusty to game development for some time, so I knew that this would take time. But I think this is really great and it works pretty fine. Let me know if you have any questions or any suggestions. What I'm going to do is I'll um, stop playing this, and I'll actually push this to GitHub, because I did say that I'll push it to GitHub yesterday, but I did not have the time to do that. So I don't think I have GitHub desktop open with me right now. I just probably have to install GitHub. Let me know if you have any questions or anything that concerns you, or if you found it interesting, or you have any suggestions of what we could have done better. I would be happy to help you out with that. Okay, I hope the size is not too big. Really great series. Thank you so much. I hope it was as helpful as I wanted it to be. I don't think we can commit actually this big size altogether. This must have crossed 100 MB, but I'll try. I made a commit anyway. Okay. I think I'll have to use Git LFS, so I'll do this after the stream. Because I don't have this installed. I made a few 2D games with Unity where we attach colliders to characters and move with animation. Can the collider move with the hands when the character moves in hand in the animation? Uh, I am not sure what you're exactly saying. So you have a 2D game where you attach collider to characters with animation, okay? Can the collider move with hands when the character moves its hand in the animation, right? Yes. So if you have the collider really assigned to the body, like a mesh collider on the hand, it will move with the animation. It should move. If it's a box collider as well, if you just assign a box on the hand, so with any movement, the collider is associated to the hand, so it should move alongside. Even now, there's a collider on the car, so that is moving along with the car. Like, let me just try to show. So we have the car, press F, and see, this is the collider. So when okay, wait, I have added full screen gameplay. Play focused. So you see the collider. If I move the car forward, backward, this box collider is moving with the car. This box collider will be moving with the car wherever you go. Similarly, in the 2D animations, the collider will move with the hand. Like for this car, can we add a collider when we open the door? Yes. So there can be a separate collider which is just associated to the door. But if you see in this animation, if you see in this basically uh, asset, there is no car body. It directly has separate wheels, but there's no distinction between the door and the glass or the frame. So that is why we cannot even open the door. But for anything whose parts can move, you can add separate colliders to them. Like there are separate wheels. So each wheel can have its own collider, and that collider will move with that wheel. I hope that makes sense. That depends on the asset that you use. Got it. Cool. Okay, I am here for another 5 minutes. Feel free to ask any questions that you have. I'll be happy to answer them for you. I will share the GitHub repo link either on Global Hack Week announcements or probably in the Global Hack Week chat itself by tonight or tomorrow evening at max. That depends on my office schedule because I have a little bit of work left out there as well. So I'll add it as soon as I get the chance. Do we have any other questions? Seems like there are no questions, so I think I can end the stream early. Thank you so much, folks, for attending this series. I hope it was helpful. I hope you had fun building in Unity, and I sure did. I've been back to game development after a long time, so I had a lot of fun creating something. And this is very basic, but at the same time looks very creative. So best part of Unity is that implementing the functionality is not difficult once you understand it. The coding is actually also very simple. All you have to do is use your most creative minds to build that, and it'll be all great. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you in the next Global Hack Week. Happy hacking, and have a great rest of your day, evening, night, whatever it is. Thank you so much. Bye.